And we are live and in person. And we got 50 seconds to curtain. And let me just double check that we are indeed on the air.
Guys, break legs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There we are.
Whatever the
Whole world to see.
saying is. Mark that the Schläger broken.
You can stay. Yeah. So I'm only going to be speaking for a few seconds. No one's here to see us. Well, maybe some people came to see Doug.
It's his birthday.
For the most part, they came to see this fabulous cast. 15 seconds. Bless you, Doug. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening. It's 8 o'clock, and it's time for our live script reading of Everything is Wonderful by Chelsea Marcantel. And bear with me for 1 minute in my infinite wisdom. I forgot to share my computer sound. There we go. Can't have our music without that. All right. I'm going to have our cast introduce themselves to you, and then we'll get things started. Tonight, we have in the role of Jakob,
Jim Fryer.
Esther,
Anne Lannak,
Miri,
Meg Barton,
Ruth,
Julie Luzier,
Eric,
Anthony Bosco.
Abram,
Jimmy Jesberger.
with stage directions read by
Lauri Jacobs.
Okay. All right. And there will be a 5-minute intermission after the first act. Okay, then, if everyone is ready, this is Everything is Wonderful.
I will meet you in the morning by the bright riverside, when all sorrow has drifted away. I'll be standing at the portals when the gates open wide, at the close of life's long dreary day. I'll meet you in the morning, meet you in the morning, with the hallelujah.
Act 1, Scene 1, Sweet Tooth. Present day. The play opens in the living room of a spare but large Amish home. It is the end of a long day of work, and Esther and Jakob sit together in silence, taking care of little chores. It is 1 week since the accident. This is the first time they've been alone together since their sons died. Esther is mending one of her husband's shirts. Jakob is oiling a leather bridle.
Benny was a sweet name, but that was an argumentative horse. New horse is gentle, has an amenable demeanor. Think I'm going to name the new horse Honey.
Ruth will want to name the new horse.
Ruth will like to name Honey.
They sit in silence together for a moment.
I've spoken to Abram. He's arranged for John and Samuel to help us in the field for the rest of the month.
That will make things easier.
I've been concerned, Esther. I feel so tired.
I feel tired too.
Abram told me that Rebecca and Elizabeth have offered to help with your work, and Ruth.
They have, but we're managing just fine.
I don't want to manage, don't want to feel like we're just getting by. I want things to get better.
Things are getting better. Abram will send his brothers to help in the field for the rest of the month, and you'll catch up on the work.
What about next month?
Sufficient unto the day is trouble thereof.
I'd say our day's trouble is sufficient. Yes, I would say that.
Don't be angry, Jakob.
I'm not angry, I'm tired.
And everything I'm saying is making you more tired. I can see that.
Apologize for raising my voice.
Esther puts her hand on his gently.
Everything is hard right now, I know. But he will see us through.
Tell myself that some days, and it helps. Today it did not.
Esther looks at him in silence.
Everything is wonderful.
There is a moment of silence, then a knock at the door. Jakob looks at Esther in mild surprise, then rises to answer the knock. He opens the door to a small room, and Eric enters, pale as a ghost, and instantly, egregiously out of place. No one says anything. It feels, now and for the rest of the scene, like Jakob might strike Eric at any moment. There's a long silence.
Good evening, young man.
Eric cannot say anything. He just nods.
Would you like to come in?
Eric nods again.
This is my wife, Esther.
Eric nods at her, then hangs his head.
Won't you sit down?
I'm sorry.
Would you like some lemonade? Ruth made it this morning.
I'm sorry.
I made that chair. It's a good chair. Sit down.
I'm sorry.
Me too. Sit down.
I'm sorry.
Please sit.
I can't.
We forgave you in the hospital.
Don't.
I met your father at the hospital. Don't know if he mentioned that.
Eric sits, lights up on a different portion of the stage, the front of an English convenience store not far away the same evening. Abram is there with 2 candy bars in one hand, opening them. Ruth enters and sees him. He freezes. She stares.
Please say whatever you need to say.
I didn't see it. I wasn't looking. I was looking at the sun. I couldn't see it, which is ridiculous because it was so big and right in front of me.
What is it we can do for you?
Press charges.
Good evening, Ruth.
Good evening, Abram.
You're looking well.
I was falling asleep and the sun was in my eyes and I was feeling okay, or nothing for once, and I wasn't drunk, not really, not legally. And so the state's not, but I should go to jail. I should for this. Something should happen to me.
Maybe something will.
Lights dim on the living room. Jakob, Eric, and Esther exit.
Are you?
What brings you to town?
Oh, a letter. I have a letter to mail.
Oh, to whom?
Whom?
To whom are you writing, Ruth?
She motions to his hand.
You have a sweet tooth?
Yes, it's nice to see you. How's your mother?
She is, as you might expect.
I've arranged for John and Samuel to work with your dad this month. I'll be able to help out more myself soon as the Yoder's barn is finished.
Very kind of you.
Levi and Joshua were almost brothers to me.
Yes. Suppose so.
I'll be seeing you then, soon, at your farm.
Uh-huh.
She turns to leave, but turns back.
Your secret is safe with me.
My secret.
The sweets. I won't tell anyone.
I appreciate that. I won't tell anyone I saw you mailing that letter.
Nice running into you, Abram.
Something has been set in motion. Ruth exits. Mary enters. Shift to the past. We've gone back in time 10 years, as indicated by a sound and light cue. Mary rides in shakily on a simple old bicycle. She's dressed in Amish plain clothes. We're still in front of the convenience store. Mary sees the candy bars.
Aha, caught you. What's that in your hand?
In my hand? Who cares what's in my hand? What's this?
This is called a bicycle, Abram.
I know what it is. Is it yours?
All mine.
Where'd you get it?
The English family up the road, they're having a rummage sale. I bargained for it.
How much?
Clean their house 3 times this month.
That's practically for free.
I know.
Where do you plan to hide it?
Hide it? I plan to ride it.
The bishop's wife don't like bicycles.
Bishop's wife ain't the bishop, and the bishop hasn't forbidden bicycles.
Your mama will be madder than a wet hen.
Dot will let me keep it. I'm nearly 15. Mama won't be able to say nothing.
Let me ride it.
Maybe one day.
Today.
I just got it.
You have to give it to me. You're my...
Nothing. I'm your nothing.
Well, you will be one day.
I barely know you.
You will be one day, and everyone says it.
Well, I'm not your nothing yet.
You should submit the bicycle to me for practice. For one day.
Whatever you're talking about is a long way off.
Lights up on Ruth as she enters the kitchen with a stack of plates. She begins to set the table. She has 5 plates, but she sets 4 places.
Not that far off. I bet you'll be married by the time you're 18.
You'll have to catch me first. I'm faster than you with this.
You'll go cruising down the road and your cap strings will come untied. And you'll forget to tie them back and someone will see you. You'll be in trouble with the bishop in an hour.
I'm always in trouble with the bishop anyways.
She climbs off the bike, teasing him.
Where'd you get the candies, Abram? Been to town today? Maybe to the English movies again?
Abram jumps on the bike and rides off badly.
You can't prove it.
Come back! Hey, come back here!
Hey, come back here.
Ruth?
Hey, come back here.
Mary stares at Ruth. Ruth stares back. Eric enters the kitchen. Shift to the present. As indicated by a sound and light cue, Esther and Jacob enter the kitchen.
Ruth?
The spell is broken. Mary exits.
Eric will be joining us for supper. Set a place for Eric.
I don't mean eat meat if.
There are plenty of biscuits and vegetables. You won't go hungry.
Okay.
There's a short silence. Esther and Ruth sit.
Is there another guest?
No. The Lord only blessed us with 4 children.
Jacob sits.
Eva and Joshua have gone on to their reward. They were good boys.
Miriam has just gone on.
But we always set her place.
And we always have room for our guest. More rooms than ever.
Eric sits. Jacob reaches out his hand to take Eric's for the dinner blessing. Eric hesitates, then accepts. Shift to the past, as indicated by a sound and light cue. We are in the living room 5 years before.
Do you confess to acting worldly?
Yes.
You confess to putting yourself before the community and testing the ways of the ordinal?
Yes.
You confess to the sins of pride and disobedience that sunder us all from God.
Yes, I confess these things and I repent them.
Do you repent that you have held on to anger, that you have allowed this anger to turn to vanity?
Vanity? No,
Confess it.
I will not.
Forgiveness is the spine of life. If you cannot practice reconciliation, you put us all at risk.
Am I not at risk, Dad?
In Germany and in Switzerland, they persecuted us and martyred us. And now here they mock us, close our schools, try to draft us for their wars, kill and kidnap our children, and we forgive. Always we forgive.
How?
We do this the same way we do everything. Gelassenheit.
Submission.
Submission is a bad word to the English. Their lives are built around grabbing and holding on. Our lives are not our own. I suffered what you suffered, not just in the same way, but I must surrender my right to revenge. I must surrender my right to anger and resentment and self-pity.
And rage.
Bad things happen. They happen quite a lot. And surrender is not the only way to move on, but it is the way we know best. I wish I could show you an easier path, but I have not found one. You must let go of the things inside you that make you want to crush him. It's a curse. I'm trying to take this hardness off your heart, girl. Speak, forgive, forget.
How can I forgive him? Just like that? It won't fix the way I feel. It won't make anything right.
Forgiveness and reconciliation are 2 different things, Miri. Forgiveness is a choice. It happens in an instant. Reconciliation is a journey. It must take you the rest of your life. It may, but forgiveness must come first.
Shift to the present. The scene shifts to the front porch. Jacob and Eric stand outside the front door. They're both very still and very unsure.
Thanks again for dinner. It was really good. I'm sorry about the whole meat thing. I don't know why
You came on a bus.
Yes, sir.
It's late.
Yes, sir.
Don't want to put you on the road at this hour, but I can't have you sleeping in our home. Ruth's unmarried. Wouldn't be right.
No, of course.
It's fine. There'll be plenty for him tonight. There are quite a few quilts in the hayloft you can sleep on. Very pleasant. Spent a few nights out there myself over the years.
Oh, Okay, yeah, great.
Tomorrow we'll see what we can do for you.
Jakob turns to exit.
I can't. What will...
It's no mistake you coming to us this evening. Everything happens by God's providence.
Eric and Jakob exit to the barn, shift to the past. Esther and Miri enter. They're in the living room 5 years ago.
We don't think you're wrong to feel this way. We all understand. Just wish you changed your mind.
Changed my mind.
Give it time.
I have given it time.
Only a few months. You're so young. Time heals all wounds.
I should wait till I want to kill myself?
Never say such a thing.
Just pretend to forget like everyone else.
Don't pretend. Do forget. God will heal you if you give him time. Impatience is disrespectful. You've always had a disrespectful Lenin.
Disrespectful? What happened can stop happening to him. It can't stop happening to me.
He shouldn't even be talking like this.
Everyone smiles at him. They shake his hand. They say it's my fault behind my back.
Abram has been forgiven.
I can't forgive him. And that doesn't even matter.
Have you thought about your soul, Miriam? Have you thought about eternity in hell?
Believe me, Mama. I have thought a long time about hell.
I'm offering you comfort, and you're offering me petulance and disrespect. Look at me and tell me you never want to see me again.
A short pause. Ruth joins them in the past.
What's going on?
Your sister is leaving us. She never wants to see you again.
Mary?
You're so good at it. I'm not.
Don't leave. You're baptized.
Please, Ruth. You'll make this so awful if you keep talking.
I'm angry right now. With you, I'm really angry.
Miri crosses to Ruth and puts her hand on Ruth's shoulder.
I'm leaving in the morning. I have to, Ruth.
Ruth begins to cry silently. A moment passes.
Why don't you leave now?
Miri stares at her mother for a moment, then exits.
Don't cry.
Esther does not move to comfort Ruth. Lights dim on the living room. Scene 2, Toil. The past and present. The following is stylized movement, not a naturalistic enactment. Over the course of the song, a week passes. Lights up on Jakob working in the field with a shovel. After a moment, Eric enters, sees what Jakob is doing, and watches him. Jakob looks over at Eric, exits, and returns with a second shovel, which he hands to Eric. Nothing is said. Jakob goes back to work. Eric begins to imitate the work poorly. They work for a few moments, and then lights come up on Esther cooking in the kitchen on another part of the stage. She does this alone for a few moments. The noises of her work with pots and pans mingle with the noises of the shovels almost musically. They go on working like this for a few moments, and then lights come up on Ruth and Miri in her Amish plainclothes, scrubbing the porch. They are 10 years in the past. The noises of their brushes at work mingle with their mothers and the men's almost musically. Lights indicate that the girls are in the past. After a moment, the work inspires Ruth to begin singing a hymn.
Each day I'll do a golden deed by helping those who are in need. My life on earth is but a span, and so I'll do the best I can.
Jakob joins in the singing. It becomes a call and response with Jakob leading.
Life's evening sun
Evening sun,
is sinking low.
sinking low.
A few more days,
2 more days,
and I must go.
I must go.
Esther joins in the singing. She joins Ruth's part.
To meet the deeds
Read the deeds
that I have done,
that I have done.
there will be
There will be
no setting sun.
setting sun.
Miri joins in the singing. She joins the response with Ruth and Esther. They go on working and singing until the song is nearly done, but they're interrupted by the entrance of Abram.
I'll help someone
I'll help someone
in time of need
in time of need.
and journey on
Journey on,
with rapid speed.
rapid speed.
I'll help the sick
I'll help the sick
and poor and weak,
and poor and weak.
and words of kind,
Words of kind
as to them speak.
to them speak.
Life's evening sun
This evening sun
is sinking low.
sinking low.
Few more days,
2 more days,
I must go
I must go.
to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no
Abram enters at the same part of the stage where Jacob and Eric are working. As soon as he enters, all singing and noise-making stops abruptly.
Hello, Abram.
Good afternoon, Jacob. It's good to see you.
Jacob subtly motions with his hand for Eric to leave. Eric gets the hint.
Excuse me.
Eric exits.
Something I can do for you today, Abram.
Came by to see if I could be any help to you, Jacob.
We're managing. Your brothers have been helping out, and Eric for the last few days.
Eric, the English one that just left.
Yes, to English.
Doesn't look like much help. Doesn't know how to hold a shovel.
He's learning.
How did he come to be sleeping in your barn, Jacob?
Do you want to know, or does the bishop?
We all want to know how you're doing. You and Esther and Ruth.
Eric is to English, to driver.
The driver of the car.
Yes, he came to us.
And you took him in to work?
Both of my sons have died. My sons. And here's a young man who wants to do their work. He's not my son, but he does the work.
You really think that what you're doing is God's will?
It's not mine to say what's God's will. It's only mine to say what's in front of me.
What's in front of you is the man who hit your sons with his car and killed him.
Day after the accident, as soon as Joshua passed away, as soon as I knew they were both gone, I walked into Eric's hospital room. That boy was alive, and no one was there with him. Can't keep hold of a dead man's hand.
Mary and Ruth are still scrubbing their corner of the stage. In this scene, Mary is 15 and Ruth is 8.
Of course, I want to have children. I think that's the best thing I could do one day, be a mother. But I don't think I could handle more than 6. What a headache.
6.
Of course, the number will be whatever God wants.
You'd have to get married first, Ruth.
Yes, that will be hard. I love everyone.
But who do you want to kiss, Ruth?
Mary!
I'm happy to help you. If you need another pair of hands, I could ask Eli to come in the mornings, and Aaron and I could come in the afternoons. If Samuel and John can't keep up, we can get it all done. That's how it's meant to be. You don't need that Englishman for that work.
Forgiveness is hard. And with him here, I can't put it off. I need him for my work.
I don't want to kiss anyone. I don't even want to think about kissing anyone. Is that normal?
One day you'll meet the right person and you'll think about kissing all the time.
I don't know.
You will. That's how it works. That's love.
And all who live in love live in God.
You'll see. When the bishop talks about the riches of heaven, all he means is love. It's not like there's piles of money out there. God is kissing.
Mary, it's easy for you to say you're going to marry Abram.
That's what God wants.
It's surely what Abram wants.
Well, Abram shouldn't get everything he wants just because he's a boy.
I don't think he's going to do well here. I hope he finds what he's looking for, but I don't think it's here. You can smell it on him. He's lost. He's wild. It's not your place to save people, Jacob, especially people who put us all in danger.
Don't turn him out. We've already lost too much.
Abram tips his hat respectfully to Jacob and exits. Jacob begins shoveling again. After a moment, Eric returns. He doesn't pick up his shovel, he just watches.
You look worried.
Bored.
Why? It's a beautiful day.
Don't you ever just get bored?
No, I love it.
What, scrubbing?
The whole world. And scrubbing. Are you feeling well?
I heard from Elizabeth that when she went to Brooklyn on her Rumspringa, she saw a community garden where everyone had just a little spot, and they came every day and tended just their little spot. All kinds of people, Black people too, and Spanish people, all sharing a garden in the city.
Well, how do they grow enough to eat if they only have a little spot?
They mostly buy their food. The gardening is just for fun.
Well, gardening is fun, but I don't know if I could do that. Be so close to lots of people in a garden, in a city. I like the idea of it. It's nice, but it's too much happening. It wonders me. How could I deal with so many people?
Maybe there are only a few people here, so everybody means too much to you.
Maybe.
How can you love scrubbing?
It's so easy. And everything looks so clean after. Makes me feel proud. Like laundry. I love doing laundry. It smells so good and it's so warm right off the line.
I miss going to school. And I'm bad at folding sheets.
It's just practice. I like it. It's comforting.
You should practice being around strangers.
Well, I just like being around the house.
That's okay. That's fine. I'm jealous you're so content. I know that's a sin.
They scrub in silence for a moment. Something occurs to Ruth and she stops her work for the first time.
You're going to be baptized, aren't you? After your Rumspringa?
When other people get baptized, I don't feel like I feel the way I should feel.
Eric has been watching Jakob shovel this whole time without helping. Now he interrupts the work.
Are you in trouble?
What do you mean by that?
What are you saying now?
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
That's good.
Sometimes it doesn't feel so good.
Ruth and Mary exit. Esther crosses from the kitchen to the porch, where she sits and begins patching a shirt.
That Abram guy, did he come here because you're in trouble for having me on your farm?
No, Abram came to check on us because he's our neighbor, because he cares about our family.
But
You always believe that everything is about you.
I'm sorry.
Jakob stops shoveling.
You have said I'm sorry a lot this week, more than you have said anything else.
Yeah, I guess so.
How many people have you apologized to in your life? Apologies are just words, Eric. A man is not what he says. A man is what he does.
Well, maybe I'm sorry is all I've got.
I don't believe that.
Jakob stares at Eric for a moment. Jakob hands Eric a shovel and exits to the porch. He sits with Esther. Silence. Jakob watches Eric shovel from the porch. After a moment, Eric picks up both shovels and exits.
People tell me I talk too quietly.
You don't.
People tell me I repeat myself.
You do.
I think there's too much noise in the world. Was there this much noise when we were young? My parents didn't have a phone. Now we have a phone. At the end of the lane, it's sad. Not phones, not themselves. Just needing a phone is sad. Do we need it?
We decided we need it. To call a taxi. To call the doctor. If there's an emergency.
There was an emergency, and the phone didn't help us. Did no good. What I want is for us to be healthy and safe. I want everyone I know to go to heaven. Maybe I shouldn't want anything. Maybe I should trust God more. I regret that I haven't trusted him more. I don't help you enough. Could help you with the washing. Don't care what the other men would think. Could be kinder with my remarks. Abram came by earlier, and I was not as kind as I could have been. Was just offering us more help.
Jakob.
Was never tested when I was young. That's why my faith is being tested now, that I'm old.
Esther places her hand gently on his.
There is nothing you could have done. There is no way you could live that would have prevented the accident.
What did I owe God that he needed so much repayment? I will not have any regrets about the Englishman.
Eric enters. Esther pulls her hand away from Jakob and blushes. Eric is dressed in ill-fitting Amish clothes, a collared white shirt that is too large or small, and black pants that are too short or long on him. He wears his English sneakers. It is shocking and kind of funny.
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Jakob, Esther.
Where did you get those from?
I found them. I know it's kind of, but I didn't bring a bag, and I've been wearing the same clothes since I got here. They really smell.
Of course, you've been working very hard.
Thank you. Thanks. I like being here. And actually, I was wondering if it's not too much trouble, could I give you these?
Eric holds out a very fancy cell phone, watch, and wallet to Jakob.
Would you take these from me? They're getting in my way. I think I'll work better without them.
I think you're right. I'll put these in the house.
Jakob exits into the house.
Eric, you have been a very big help to us this week, and we're glad to have you here as long as you need to stay with us. But there's no room for you, no reason for you to dress this way. It's not quite appropriate. And your watch, your things, they look very valuable. I'm not sure we should.
Jakob re-enters excitedly, a folded shirt, pants, and suspenders in his hands. He gives them to Eric.
I believe these will fit you better. Why don't you wear these instead?
Esther looks at her husband with disapproval, but he continues.
Hard work is the way to salvation, Eric. Closest thing we have to God's will on earth. You have the right to hard work, and I hope that these will help you.
We will put your other clothes in the wash.
Thank you.
Ruth enters with a jar of strawberry jam and a few spoons.
I have such good news. The Yoder sent over some strawberry jam today. Would anybody like some? We have so much jam this evening. It's wonderful.
Eric is so excited to have the new Amish clothes that he forgets himself and begins to change into them right there on the porch. No one notices him at first, but when he drops his pants, the women gasp and turn their faces.
Gracious!
Eric, perhaps you could...
The commotion is interrupted abruptly. Miri enters dressed in modern English clothes, wheeling a suitcase behind her. Total silence descends. No one speaks. No one moves for an uncomfortable period of time. Eric looks around a little confused, but not wanting to make a move. Finally, Ruth breaks the spell. She runs over to Miri, still with a jam jar and spoons in her hands, and wraps Miri in a suffocating hug.
You're home! You're home, and we have so much strawberry jam.
Lights dim on the porch. Scene 3, Waste, the past. Lights up on the living room. Jakob is sitting frozen. It is 5 years in the past. Esther enters from the porch in a hurry.
We're going to be late.
I have to make myself move.
Of course you can. You must. He's doing this for her.
It's not.
Can't be late for worship again. Last time the bishop's wife nearly cut into with her eyes.
Are you really all just going to sit there and listen to him talk about it?
He needs to confess. He needs to be heard. Miri should think about doing that for herself.
It wasn't her doing.
I'm not saying it was, but she's always where she's supposed to be. Always doing what you tell her not to do.
I can't hear it. Can't go.
Get your hat and get in the buggy. It's time.
Esther exits to the porch. Jakob doesn't follow her. Shift to the present as indicated by a sound and light cue. Miri and Eric are in the barn. Eric is finishing putting on his better fitting Amish clothes. They've not been introduced.
Do you want the hayloft or to sleep down here? I've been sleeping in the loft. It's cooler up there. I've just been sweating a lot since I got here. But then I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm freezing. So I have all the blankets up there, but I can bring some down.
You talk a lot.
I'm Eric.
Good for you.
It's warmer down here closer to the animals.
Getting a tour from a fucking tourist. You look ridiculous. You know that?
I want to.
Gross.
What?
You. This whole thing.
You don't even know me.
Oh, you're right. What are you into? Farming, woodworking, construction? People come through here to rip off all kinds of things.
Well, I'm not ripping off anything. I just need to be here.
Right. There's nothing in it for you. You are just real super interested in the Amish, and it didn't occur to you that they don't owe you anything.
I'm on a journey right now. Jakob is helping me work through some hard stuff here.
This family is grieving. Did you know that?
I'm grieving too. I wouldn't be here if I had anywhere else to be.
I'll sleep down here.
There are blankets in the hayloft.
I know where the goddamn blankets are. Jesus.
I'm going to go check on Honey.
Eric exits.
Who the fuck is Honey?
Ruth enters with a glass of milk.
This is bullshit.
Your words, please, Mary.
Sorry. This is ridiculous. I have to sleep in the barn.
Well, surely you didn't think they were going to let you sleep in the house.
I don't know what I expected.
You should have come in the morning, not the evening.
I didn't think about the time. When I got your letter, I just threw a bunch of stuff in my suitcase and left.
If you want, there's one of your old dresses in the house, and I have an extra cover, and if you...
No.
Some ex-Amish do, dress Amish when they visit.
That's hypocritical.
Give them a little something, a little comfort.
They won't even let me sleep in the house.
I know, but maybe soon.
I have to sleep in the barn, like an animal, like that English. Who is he exactly?
He's Eric. He's helping out on the farm.
Like an internship or something?
He's the driver, the English that hit our buggy.
He killed Levi and Joshua?
He's lost his way. He needs us.
I don't give a fuck what he needs.
Words.
I'm sorry, Ruth, but the man that killed our brothers is sleeping in this barn.
It helps Dad to have Eric around.
What? Why?
I don't really know, but please don't come start a big fight, okay? You just got back. He's a nice man. He doesn't cause trouble.
But I do.
You're putting words in my mouth. And right now, I'm the only one who wants you here.
I thought, with the boys gone, I thought they might need me to be here.
They'll come around.
It's good to see you, Ruth.
It's good to see you too. I miss you so much. I brought you a glass of milk.
Ruth puts the milk on the ground. She's not allowed to touch her excommunicated sister, give her anything, or take anything from her hand. The hug in the last scene was involuntary, but Ruth has control of herself again.
I don't want a glass of milk, thank you.
You can take it to Eric.
I will not.
And I will take it to him.
Ruth hugs Mary. Eric re-enters.
Things will be better in the morning. You'll see.
Mary exits. Ruth walks over to Eric. Abram enters and watches as Ruth gives Eric the glass of milk, and he drinks it. Ruth smiles at Eric, and Eric smiles at Ruth. Ruth does not see Abram. She exits. It is now daytime.
I know why you're here.
Do you? I don't.
You can't make this right by doing chores, even if you could do the work of 4 men. I mean, even if you could do the work of 1 man. There's no amount of manure you could shovel or peaches you could put up or acres you could plow that will even the score. I've seen the way you look at our women.
Come on, dude. Your women?
You have ideas about our women. All you English do. You think they're unspoilt and hardworking and angelic. They are. You can't have one.
With charm like that, I don't know why you're threatened by me.
I've seen you with Ruth.
Ruth is kind to me, and she lets me be kind to her.
Ruth is taken care of. She doesn't need you. The less you see of her, the better for everyone.
What's your problem? I haven't done anything to you.
See? That's why you don't belong here. You don't understand community. You took 2 young men from us, men who were almost brothers to me. It's not just Jakob and Esther and Ruth you took from.
I know about community, okay? I grew up in a very nice cul-de-sac.
This family is being kind because it's not our way to turn out pitiful souls in search of refuge. But you've been making more work around here for days. They don't want you here any more than I do.
Eric exits with the glass. Miri enters. Abram looks at Miri. They're now in front of the convenience store.
It's been a long time since you've been here, and you don't live here.
Abram,
It's nice to see you here again, but you don't live here. I do.
I don't live here because you do.
That's hurtful.
I don't know what you want from me.
Nothing. I want nothing from you. No one here wants anything from you. We're all doing just fine.
My family needs me.
They're not your family anymore.
This is bigger than your stupid laws. It's outside the Ordnung.
The Ordnung is from God, and all of this, their grief is part of God's plan.
And do you think it was God's plan that I left? God's plan that I lost my whole life over something you did?
I don't speak for God.
Miri approaches Abram and roughly touches his clean-shaven chin.
You never got married. Was that God's plan or yours?
Abram pulls away from her. Ruth enters.
Hello.
Ruth, would you like to go walking?
A walk? With me?
Let me walk you to the Yonders farm.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
What is this?
So nice to see you, Miri.
Abram exits with Ruth. Miri watches them leave. Eric enters. She doesn't see him.
I think they have a crush on each other.
What? Oh, you. No, that's not possible. He was just trying to get away from me.
He comes around a lot. I think he wants to see your sister.
You don't know what you're talking about. Trust me.
Who wouldn't want to be with that dude? He's like the LeBron James of being Amish.
He's just playing a game.
I mean, I personally think he's a piece of shit, but I've heard all these amazing things about how good he is at like building barns and shoeing horses and stuff. He sounds amazing. His shoulders are also amazing, but I guess he can't grow a beard, so.
Only married Amish wear beards.
Oh, so he's not making like a rebellious fashion choice?
You don't know anything about anything.
Actually, I don't know anything about pretty much everything.
Oh, you think you're clever? You want to have a little chat? Awesome. Why don't you tell me straight up what you're doing here? Did you lose your job? Lose your apartment? You must be really hard up if your best move right now is to camp out in the family barn of the 2 people you fucking murdered. Levi was 23. Joshua was 20.
I know. I'm sorry. I know.
Not good enough.
I'm working on a more authentic way to make amends.
I want you out of here.
Respectfully, Miri, you can't make me go.
You're a really shitty person.
I am. Yeah. But this part right now, this is not the shitty part.
Beat. She turns to leave.
You know, your dad reminds me of my dad, but he like means it.
Miri turns back to him but says nothing.
My family is Catholic. There's a lot of really good parts, but no one ever tries to like live them. And it just pisses me off, you know, to sit in the middle of all this bullshit and knowing that everyone knows the right thing but doesn't do it. It's not like that here. They make everyone live the good parts. I was sure I didn't believe in anything anymore 2 weeks ago, but being here, I realized that it's not God I have the problem with. It's his fucking followers.
Tell me about the accident.
I don't think, I'm probably not.
You want to authentically make amends with me? Tell me about that day. All of it.
On a different part of the stage, unseen by Eric and Miri, Esther enters and begins to throw eggs as hard as she can against the side of the barn. She is silent at first, but her rage and the exertion of the task eventually leads to loud grunting, crying noises. Esther can't see, hear the others, and they can't see or hear her.
I drink a lot. Alone. I mean, I'm quitting. I quit. I haven't had a drink since I was on about day 4 of a bender, and I was just not disappearing the way I usually could. There was still so much of me around. I got into my car just to drive, just to outrun the thing. I was driving for a long time, not speeding, not being reckless. Hours. I had a full tank when I started. I wasn't really drunk then at that point, but I hadn't slept in days. It was about 6:30. The sun was going down. I was running out of gas. I thought to myself, well, you'll just run out of gas and maybe you'll just pull over on the side of the road and stay there. What would you be going back to if you turned around? I was close to here. I didn't know the place, but the sun was so nice. Nice colors. It's really hypnotic to drive around here. The hills and the fields. And I didn't feel happy right then, but I felt nothing. Finally, my head was getting light, lifting off like a balloon. I felt myself fall asleep, and it felt so nice. And I really didn't care if I had ever woke up again. I drifted, and my whole body exploded. I opened my eyes in a turned over car, and I thought, well, you did it. You're dead. I didn't know that anyone else was involved until I woke up in the hospital the next day. They were just trying to get home before dark.
Mary says nothing. Esther has run out of eggs. She looks exhausted. She pants.
I wasn't legally drunk when I ran on the buggy. Just tired. Legally, it was an accident, even though it was completely my fault. Your parents won't press charges. That's why I came here, actually. I asked them to, and they forgave me instead.
Mary says nothing. Esther hears someone coming. Embarrassed and ashamed, Esther exits. Jakob enters and sees the mess she left.
So I know they can forgive you, whatever you did.
What I did? Me?
Even if you're shunned.
Jakob takes in the destruction for a moment longer, then exits the way he came.
I'm not shunned. Shunning is temporary. Shunning is for people you still believe in. I'm excommunicated. I don't exist. You should be in jail.
I should be, but I'm forgiven.
Oh, no. No. Forgiveness is a trick.
All of the problems of the world could be solved if everyone forgave each other the way your parents forgave me.
Could you fetishize them anymore? Forgiveness is a shortcut to get around things that are messy. It's imaginary higher ground to retreat to for people who are too scared to fight.
You don't believe in forgiveness?
No. And you shouldn't either. This is not going to happen again.
Ruth enters the kitchen and begins setting the table for dinner. Esther and Jakob enter. A place is set for Miri and one for Eric. Then 3 of them take their places at the table. Eric sits down at the table. Miri turns to her family.
I want to eat supper.
Ruth put a place on the porch for you.
I want to sit at the table.
You know you can't.
There. There's my place.
Miri, please.
You let this stranger get away with murder, but you won't let me get away with leaving?
Miriam, there is supper for you on the porch.
Miri crosses to the porch. Jakob, Esther, Ruth, and Eric take their places and exit. Abram enters. It is now later that evening.
Good evening, Miri.
Go home.
Come to talk to your dad.
I should have killed you 5 years ago. And if you touch Ruth, if you even breathe in her direction, I will do it now.
You aren't better than me. You aren't smarter than me. I don't believe you.
Miri begins to leave in a fury, and Ruth enters at her back. Ruth approaches Abram, but Miri does not see her. Eric enters, crossing to Miri. He is holding an Amish dress.
I found this on the clothesline,
And?
and I thought it might help if you wore it. And if you weren't so mean, it might help things.
Miri snatches the dress from him and exits. Eric exits after her. Lights dim. Scene 4, touch, the present. Abram and Ruth are walking. It is not a sweet walk. It is uncomfortable and forced feeling with lots of heavy pauses.
Did you get all your chores done?
Yes, for the morning. Did you get all your chores done?
Yes. It's a beautiful day.
Yes. Such a blue sky.
Yes. I got up very early and the air was so nice and cool. I knew it would be a good day to ask you for a walk.
I got up very early too. There is more laundry now with Eric here. Not as much as there once was, but...
You're doing his laundry?
Oh, I don't mind. I put it in with ours. He's helping Dad so much, and I love the smell of clean laundry. I don't mind more of that.
How long do you think the English will stay?
His name is Eric, you know that. He's coming to help with God's doing. Eric is a person who needs help.
Everything seems to be too much for him.
It's nice having new people around.
He's a weak man. I've been praying for him since the first time I saw him. Everyone knows you shovel with your legs and shoulders, but there he was shoveling away with his little wrists. Do you forgive Eric?
Uh-huh. He's a good person, I think. And he's not so lost anymore. His hands don't shake. He sits still at the table. He speaks more slowly.
You give farm work the credit for that.
I give God the credit.
I heard you have a new horse.
Yes. Dad named her Honey. She's my new favorite. She's very sweet and young.
Good. Are you enjoying our walk?
The day is lovely.
Am I boring you?
No, my goodness, I feel like I'm boring you.
I think my stories are interesting to me.
I'm interested too.
But sometimes I'm telling a story to someone and then I look into his eyes and the look there says, is this over?
I like your stories, Abram.
Were you surprised that Miri came back?
No. I wrote to her all along. When she left, I felt like I lost my right arm.
Would you like to go on another walk with me soon?
I do like to walk.
Is that a yes?
Eric approaches the porch with Yaakov, deep in conversation at the end of a hard day's work.
Yes.
Ruth smiles at Abram politely, then exits.
Ruth, is that a yes?
Abram exits after Ruth.
Yes. The Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and keep it. Treat people well and do your work. That's all you can do in this life. Now it would be prideful to think that just because we are Amish, we're all going to heaven. We don't think that way. We do work and we do hope.
I like the repetitive physical stuff. I like sleeping in the barn. I like living in my body instead of my head. I like going to sleep exhausted. And it's been 2 weeks since I got here, and I don't even think about drinking anymore. You should be charging me for this, really. I've been to lots of expensive rehab places that weren't half this effective.
2 weeks seems too fast.
It does, but I really don't want to drink. Not at all. I do good work, and I can put my hands on it. I can be in the same room as myself now and not need a distraction. It's like I've been staring down a long tunnel at just one thing, but suddenly the tunnel is gone, and I'm looking around me for the first time in years.
You work very hard. We're glad to have you here. But you came to us just 2 weeks ago with a burden. If that burden is still inside you, you can't ignore it. Just be substituting one thing for another.
You think I'm substituting being Amish for drinking?
No, you are not Amish, Eric.
I know. But before now, my whole life was just want, get, use, repeat, day after day after day. I can see the big picture now. This life is a real blessing. Maybe the first one I've ever had.
You've had many blessings, of that I'm sure.
Things are simple here. It's better. Rules mean something because people actually care about them.
This is all new to you, but it's just life's work. It's family. There's no magic here.
And the whole issue of what it means to be a man. Don't even get me started. I look at myself and I'm just so weak. But I look at you and Abram and the others and I think of your sons, men. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be like that. The work will make me into a man. I might lose all my hair one day. I mean, I probably will lose all my hair. That's hereditary. But I'll have shoulders. I won't be a coward. Not anymore. I won't be so afraid to fail that I don't even try. Not anymore. Not now that I know how to do it right. When everyone out there, everyone I used to know is doing it wrong.
Taking our beliefs and using them as judgments against other people is not the point.
I've been to the top of Machu Picchu. I've been to temples in Thailand. I went to Catholic school for 10 years, and I feel closer to God sleeping in your barn than I ever have anywhere else.
Would you like to learn to ride a buggy?
Yes.
I recommend driving a horse and buggy for a lot of reasons. Very peaceful, slow, relaxing. You don't have anywhere to be. People do very funny things as we go by. It's a good time for thinking.
Can we do that now?
No, tomorrow. After we plow the backfield, I think. Perhaps Ruth can come with us.
And Mary?
Jacob seems to be about to respond in the affirmative, but he sees Esther enter.
We should just go alone.
For the best.
Okay. Tomorrow.
Eric exits, excited. Jacob does not cross to Esther. There's a gulf between them.
You're the head of this family. You must tell her to leave.
She's only been here a few days, not too long.
Too long.
She sleeps at the barn. She makes the meals on the porch. She helps Ruth with the laundry.
She won't even dress appropriately. She's going to hell. She isn't our daughter.
I cannot.
People are talking, starting to talk.
Let them talk. Our daughter came here for comfort.
We are not allowed to touch her.
We need to comfort as well. How can we give it to Eric and not our own flesh and blood?
It would be different if she hadn't been baptized. If she'd left before, but she was baptized. And she broke that vow.
You're telling me to force her to leave?
You're my husband and the head of this house. I'll follow where you lead. But try to think about it from my place. I'm blamed for raising her. I don't want to be shut out. Not now. Not when we need our neighbors and our friends. My mother was different from the other women. Didn't get along with anybody. She wasn't part of the community. I don't think she really wanted to be a mother. I was 16 when it happened. We were all going swimming down at the lake, and she went first to set up lunch. And by the time we arrived, she'd already drowned. My father was furious. At her, at us, at God. He shouldn't have been, but he was. Why is there so much anger all the time? His anger made it harder for us to go on after. Mary's anger is making it harder for us to go on now.
Mary enters at a different part of the stage. We see her contemplating the Amish dress and head covering in her hand. Very slowly, we see her take off her English clothes and put on the dress and covering. She leaves on her English shoes.
Since she came back here, it's harder for me to mourn Levi and Joshua. Harder to let go. She has that anger. My family's anger. She resents all of our choices. Makes it hard to follow God's will.
Are talking about your daughter.
Mary takes off her English shoes and is barefoot.
I mourned so much when she left, even if you never saw that. But she can't come home and come in and out of our life as she pleases.
We had 4 children and now you tell me I have one? One? No, I won't ask Mary to leave. Not after 5 years of constant worrying, blaming myself, no.
She is no more our daughter today. English is our son. You can't bring them back. Not Mary, not the boys. Giving them their clothes, their chores. It's all just painting over. Levi and Joshua are dead.
As if I didn't know that. You're gone. It's a tragedy, an accident. But their sister comes back and we turn her away. That shames us.
A short silence. Mary exits with her English clothes and shoes in hand.
She isn't back for good, you know. Never asked to stay. Won't even cover her head. She still hates displays, won't submit to the Ordnung. She's only here till she feels better, and then she'll leave again. And you'll never hear from her again, and the English will leave too. When our lives get too hard or too boring for him, you can't keep them.
You are a frightening woman, like your mother.
Esther nods. Mary enters in her Amish plainclothes for the first time in the present. She's carrying a basket of eggs. Her parents register this change.
I got the eggs, Dad. There were only a few in the laying boxes.
That's very kind of you, Mary. Thank you.
Mary starts to give the basket to Jacob, but he cannot take it. He can't take anything out of her hand. She remembers this after a second and puts the basket on the ground. Jacob picks it up.
The side of the barn is covered in broken eggs. Have you seen it?
Esther coughs loudly, surprised.
Yes, noticed that.
What could make such a mess?
The chickens, they run around.
The chickens.
They run around sometimes. They kick eggs. They kick them.
Some of those eggshells are up really high.
They run around.
I think we all agree that the chickens run around.
I can clean it up if you need me to.
No, you won't clean it up.
I'll ask Ruth to help me. I really don't mind.
Haven't sorted out who's going to clean that yet.
I'll take care of it.
And it's settled.
Okay, fine.
It's a lot of wasted eggs.
I know.
Esther exits.
I guess you can't teach chickens self-control.
Nor obedience, nor taking responsibility for their lapses, nor respect for their elders.
Dad.
But those things are hard for everyone, not just chickens.
Yes.
Mary girl, are you planning to stay?
You mean forever? Be Amish again?
Yes, you could. Stoltefuss's oldest was gone 9 years and came back. Made confession, married an Amish girl.
No, Dad. I'm not going to stay. You know that.
What happened to you was so long ago.
I'm glad you feel that way.
I don't mean to hurt you by saying that. I just meant perhaps you've made your point.
You think I left as what? Some kind of stunt? To get attention?
What more could we have done for you?
You could have stood next to me when he confessed. You could have held my hand.
On the women's side.
Yes. You and Joshua and Levi, you could have crossed the aisle and stood with me on the women's side of the congregation just for that day, just for that moment when I really needed you.
You've been gone a long time. You don't remember how it is.
Oh, I do. I do remember. And that's why I wish so desperately that you'd have the balls to say, fuck the bishop, fuck the bishop's wife, and all the deacons, and all these judgmental assholes. I'm going to go stand on the other side where my daughter needs me. Just for one day, that's going to be more important.
We're all going through a lot right now. But it doesn't give you the right to talk to your father that way. Like a spoiled English girl. Won't listen to it.
Dad, please don't be angry.
Not angry. Everything is wonderful.
Jacob exits with the eggs. Mary exits the opposite way. Eric and Ruth enter at a different part of the stage on the porch.
It's part of the Ordnung. It's how we do forgiveness for big stuff.
Everything is totally forgotten, like it never happened.
That's the idea. Like nothing ever happened. Speak, forgive, forget. We go before the whole community and confess our big mistake. Then everyone decides whether or not to forgive. Or they deliberate a while, but then they always forgive. And after that, the sin is absolved, and we never speak of it again. No one is allowed to hold it against the sinner anymore.
A totally clean slate. No resentments, no gossip.
Can't gossip.
Oh, maybe I could do that. I could go before everyone and confess.
Eric, you aren't Amish.
Yuri and Abram enter in the past. He's covering her eyes with his hands and leading her on stage. He's carrying a basket and she carries a lantern.
Just a little bit farther.
Where are we going?
But I want forgiveness.
You have our forgiveness.
We're almost there.
Yeah, you all say that, but I don't feel it. It's too easy. I want to do something hard so I can feel like I really earned it.
Forgiveness isn't a thing that can be earned, Eric. You can't deserve it more one way or another. Either it's given or it's not given.
Eric and Ruth exit, shift to the past. As indicated by a sound and light cue, Abram and Miri are deep in the woods somewhere it is dusk. He uncovers her eyes.
We're nowhere.
Exactly.
Exactly what?
No one is here but us.
Abram begins taking things out of the basket, a quilt, some biscuits, candy bars. He spreads the quilt on the ground and motions for Miri to sit. Then Abram takes a bottle of wine out of the picnic basket.
Where the hell did you get that?
The English gas station. They asked to see my ID, and I told them I didn't have one. I'm Amish. And they sold it to me anyway because I'm tall.
You don't think we're going to drink that right now, do you?
Why not? It's your birthday.
In a month.
We just got baptized.
Oh, great. Now we're Amish. Let's get drunk?
Soon we'll be married.
So you tell me.
I've talked to your dad about that.
You know, you've never asked me if I want to marry you.
Well, I assumed if you didn't want to, you'd say something by now.
You should still ask me. You shouldn't just assume.
Miri, may I marry you?
Be serious about it.
Oh, fine. Miriam, would you do me the honor of being my wife and living in my home and raising my children and burying me when I die?
I will. I especially look forward to burying you.
See, that was unnecessary.
No, it was nice.
There is short, happy silence. They are both very pleased.
Do you think heaven is like having all the food you could ever want, or is it like never being hungry?
I think all the food you want sounds better.
I think so too, but Dad says it's the other way around, that I'm being worldly. In heaven, you don't have any needs or desires.
That can't be right. That's not paradise. That's boring.
That's what I think. I'd rather have anything I want than not want anything.
Me too.
A short pause, then Abram lunges at Miri across the blanket.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to kiss you.
Trying to kill me?
Abram rights himself, takes Miri's face tenderly in his hands and kisses her. This is their first kiss. It is awkward and tentative and lovely. It makes us ache.
That was nice.
Kiss me again?
Abram kisses Miri again.
Yes, I think I could do that for 40 or 50 years. If only you wouldn't talk so much in between.
Abram kisses Miri again, and this time it is passionate and she gives herself over to it. After a moment, he tries to lay her down on the quilt.
What are you doing?
Be calm. I'll take care of you.
Miri tries to get out from under him, but he is too strong for her.
You don't have to pretend to be good. This is me. I know you.
I know you too. This doesn't feel right.
You're going to be my wife. You said so.
I'm not your wife. Not yet.
Stop fighting me. You're always fighting me.
Abram wraps his large hand around Miri's neck and holds her still.
Abram?
0 count, blackout, end of Act 1.
God is here.
Miss you guys so much.
Ugh. Ugh.
Having fun, huh?
No. No.
Best to look at, so we'll do that.
All right, good. Act 2, Scene 5, Ask. The past, 7 years ago, as indicated by sound and lights. Lights up on Abram and Miri setting up for worship in a barn.
I have news. I'm going to buy a truck.
A truck? You're not.
In 6 months, when I start Rumspringa, I have almost enough saved up for a cheap used one. English family up the road has that red one in the front yard they're trying to sell.
A red truck. Could I sit in it?
When I imagine it, you're sitting in it.
I bet you like thinking of yourself in a truck.
I like thinking of us both in my truck.
Would you drive me to town? To the library?
I would drive you to town and I would pick you up.
I'm going to get a library card when I start Rumspringa. And I'm going to wear English clothes when I go to town.
What else are you going to do?
I don't know yet.
A library card and English clothes? That's it?
I'm going to read all the books in the back room, the ones we're not allowed to see.
That's all you want to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll cut my hair and travel. Go to New Orleans or California. Wear an English bathing suit on the beach.
If you were in English bathing suit, I would drive you to California to the beach.
You can't drive, except for a buggy. You're going to spend all your savings on a truck that you won't even be able to drive.
I'll take lessons. Can't be that hard. And then we can do whatever we want.
Within reason.
It's from Springa. We can do whatever we want.
Why do I get the feeling that you're talking about something particular right now?
I want to try cocaine.
What?
I want to try cocaine. With you, I want us to do it together.
What even is it? Abram, I don't know what it even is, but I do know it's very, very bad. What is wrong with you? People die from cocaine, don't they?
People don't die from cocaine. Don't be silly.
Why do you want to know about this thing?
The English boys talk about it all the time. It sounds fun. I know where I can get it from an English on this construction job I've been working.
No,
Know what?
no, I won't do it.
But it won't be fun without you.
I don't know anything about cocaine except that it's bad.
If it's bad, I'll take care of you.
Abram takes Mary's hand. It's the first time anyone's ever touched her like this. She softens.
We can't. We couldn't. We'd have to. Where would we put it?
In the truck. The truck solves all of our problems.
And we couldn't eat it here.
We could drive out somewhere and try it and stay there until it wears off and sleep there. And then we could drive back.
Sleep
In the truck.
in the truck. Together?
Or I could sleep in the back.
Maybe we could try alcohol first and see how that goes.
Yes.
Abram picks up Mary and twirls her around. He puts her down. They almost kiss, but don't.
Promise me one thing you won't do on Rumspringa.
What's that?
Don't move to town. Stay here with me.
Okay,
Never, ever leave me.
I won't. I promise.
Because you love me.
Mary can't say anything and backs away embarrassed. She nods.
You love me. We're in love.
Abram exits this moment. He stands elsewhere on stage. Mary watches him. Mary sits on a bench. Ruth enters and sits next to her. Esther enters and sits or stands in front of them. They're at worship, still in the past. They whisper.
Mary, don't be scared.
I'm not scared.
Then what is it?
I can't breathe.
Taking Mary's hand, Ruth says,
It's okay. This is what God wants.
I can't feel my face.
Girls, do you want everyone to stare at you?
Everyone is staring at me.
Be quiet.
I don't think I can. Ruth, I don't think I can.
It's okay. He'll confess and we'll forgive him and it'll be over.
I want it to be over. I want it to be over.
Sit tight.
I don't want you to hear this. I don't want Dad to hear this. Where is Dad?
It's a men, of course. Hush.
Ruth, I think I'm going blind.
You're not going blind, you silly girl.
I am.
It's okay, Mary. I'm here. I won't let you go blind. Just listen to him and then forgive, and everything will be like it was.
You think so?
Shut your mouths. It's time.
Esther and Ruth exit, shift to the present. As indicated by a sound and light cue, Eric enters carrying a tray of biscuits. They are on the porch.
Ruth, Mama.
They're not here.
What?
No one's here but me. There are biscuits if you want one for breakfast.
Eric holds out the pan to her and sits down on the porch.
Do you mind if I eat with you?
Whatever.
They eat in silence for a moment. Eric refers to her Amish plain clothes.
That's a good look on you.
Shut up.
Brushing
forgotten how
crumbs.
I've forgotten how to eat like a human. A week on the porch is all it took, I guess.
Yeah, have some class. It's like you were raised on a farm or something.
She smiles at him, a moment of silence.
So where is everyone?
Oh, yeah, they must have gone to worship. They'll be gone all day.
Well, they didn't go last Sunday.
Amish worship every other Sunday, so.
Where's the church?
They meet in homes and barns. The God who made the world and all things in it does not dwell in temples made with hands. When a congregation starts to get too big, they split it, and each congregation has its own bishop and its own deacons and its own rules about every single tiny thing. That's called the ordinum. It's different from the Bible because they make it up as they go along.
Gotcha.
You really don't know too much about all this, do you? Obsessed as you are.
I'm not obsessed.
Oh, please, you're an addict. If you'd hit a car full of Hare Krishnas, you'd have shaved your head by now.
I know enough to know I want to stay here.
For how long?
Forever, if they let me.
You know enough to make that call? You have a real three-dimensional perspective?
This is a trap.
So you know how they only give their kids an 8th grade education and that women basically have no rights at all and that divorce is inconceivable. So if you pick the wrong person when you're 19, good luck with that for the rest of your life. Oh, and when crime happens here, they don't retaliate. They don't go to the police. They just turn their backs and wait for it to happen again. Your old life must have been really fucked up to make this place look like the promised land.
I wrote copy at this marketing firm in Philly. That was my job, making people believe that they needed things, trying to copyright words like happiness. It upset me a lot. I was drinking all the time, every night until I passed out. It wasn't fun. It wasn't social. It was just, I couldn't imagine a day without it. I had to escape from all my stupid, indefinable non-problems. I felt ridiculous because I was miserable and I didn't know why I was miserable and I didn't have a thing to be because everyone I knew was just what they were doing, and what I was doing made me so sad. I started coming in late, doing a crappy job, got fired, drank more. My girlfriend Alexis told me I couldn't love her because I didn't love myself. Well, I didn't love myself and I didn't love Alexis. But I don't know that the two things were related, not directly.
Okay.
You can't tell me a bunch of bad stuff out of context to try to scare me off, because I've seen bad stuff, lots of it, but I've never seen this kind of good stuff. Your dad's always saying everything is wonderful, and he means it.
Everything is wonderful is code in this family.
For what?
For shut up.
That can't be true.
You're not purging any of your demons by hiding out.
Yeah, but I am. This is not the first time I've been in recovery, Mary, but this is the first time I actually don't want to jump off the wagon. All the things that people said to me before about how much clearer and happier I'd be if I quit drinking, I'm actually starting to believe them.
Whatever you can't deal with out there, it will eventually find its way in here.
You have a lot of anger.
Yes, and it's the only thing that's kept me from walking into traffic some nights.
But you can be a clean slate here.
There are different rules for you than for me.
Speak, forgive, forget.
Don't the Catholics have that too?
Technically, except God forgives you, but no one else does. I want to confess before the whole congregation.
No one really forgives. They say they do, but it's not forgiving, it's pretending. I know it's very appealing to you, but this code allows people to get away with horrible things. And then everyone has to act like the whole mess is invisible. And if you can't, if you want to stand up and say, I'm hurt, I'm disappearing, I'm not okay, I want to talk about this, then you have to go away with nothing. The guilt connects you like a bruise you can poke on, but the door is shut and locked. And then you're out there walking down the street in the city looking at all the people, and it hits you one day. Every single one of them has to make some kind of life. There is no plan. There is no right answer. And there is no help on the way.
The last time I was in rehab, I had this moment. My parents had forced, they were really worried. It was the best thing maybe, but it wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
And I was in a group session, and the woman leading the session said in her real soft voice, "You can all get better because you can choose to be well." And I immediately heard my own voice in my head say, "No, I can't. I don't have any control over that." And I knew I was going to drink again as soon as I got out of there.
I really hate when people say you have a choice when you actually don't.
Yeah, but I do. I mean, it's a choice. I would have to make every single minute for the rest of my life, but I'm beginning to think I might actually be able to do it. It's not about just waiting it out.
Because time doesn't fix anything.
Exactly.
Exactly. I need your help.
Oof. I'm barely putting one foot in front of the other right now, sister.
You have a seat at the table inside.
Yeah.
If you hear anything about Ruth, anything at all that sounds like marriage talk, you have to tell me immediately. Understand?
Ruth's like a kid.
Ruth is 18 and she's baptized. Abram is old for a bachelor. Things move very, very quickly around here, and they are almost irreversible once they get going. Everyone pretends that Abram's perfect, but he's possessive. He's pushy.
He doesn't have me fooled.
Jacob and Abram enter. They are deep in conversation in their barn post-worship. They're cleaning up after the service.
I enjoy the company of men, get along well with men, but all men need a solid partner.
I don't like the guy any more than you do, Mary, but it's not exactly my place to tell your little sister who she can and can't marry.
Ruth only wants to make everyone happy. Abram will ruin her.
There's something very warm and sincere about Ruth, a very solid, promising young woman.
I'm half of what's left. They're my family, and I didn't fight for them last time. Please, for Ruth.
I'll let you know what I hear.
Mary crosses to Eric and hugs him, or perhaps just touches his shoulder in thanks. Eric exits. They're both a little embarrassed. Esther enters across the stage and begins cleaning egg off the side of the barn. Mary watches her.
And I think I know what kind of man Ruth wants. A man with solid values, a man who knows his place in the community.
A humble man.
Mary crosses to Esther and begins to help her mother clean the side of the barn. This is a few days earlier, immediately following the scene in which she puts back on her Amish plain clothes. They work in silence.
Yes, forgive me. I'm too eager to make my point.
You're saying you're interested in marrying our Ruth.
I know the timing seems strange, but perhaps a celebration would help us all to move on from our grief. Levi and Joshua were almost brothers to me. I could care for their sister. Perhaps that is God's will.
We can only see God's will revealed after the fact.
I believe I'm still unmarried because it's God's will. I thought I had a very specific future with Miri once, but that was not the case. I've opened myself up to the atonement and trusted in God's plan, and until now I haven't found anyone who moved my heart. Perhaps that was penance for me, from him, to be alone, until now.
Ruth is sweet, the sweetest child I've ever known. Joyful, honest. I'm so happy to know her and so scared at the same time. I'm scared for her the same way I'm scared when I see a butterfly flying around a group of rowdy kids. Afraid that life will bruise her. She has no brothers anymore. And I'm not as strong as I was. Not going to live forever. And her sister? All these.
The barn is clean. Esther exits without speaking to Mary. After a moment, Mary follows her.
I'll take care of Ruth, if you let me, Jacob.
Take care of Ruth.
You have my permission to continue to court our Ruth. Let's save marriage talk for another day.
But if Ruth should start to talk marriage, if she were the one to bring it up.
Bring it up.
Don't sit with Abram at the singing. Don't ask any more of me today.
Abram exits, searching for Ruth. Ruth enters at his back. He does not see her. She's carrying a pile of clean laundry. Esther enters from the other side of the stage and crosses to Ruth. She watches Abram as he exits. They're in the living room.
Bring those here. Are they dry?
Yes, I just took them off the line. Yes.
Well, let's fold them now before they wrinkle. Supper can wait a few minutes.
I can do this myself if you need to tend to supper.
No, Ruth. Many hands make light work.
They fold sheets in silence for a moment.
What is it,
Fold
Mom?
sheets for a moment.
What is what?
What do you want to talk to me about?
What gives you the ideas that I want to talk to you about anything?
Because when you're this quiet, you are picking your words.
What do you think of Abram?
Mary's Abram?
He doesn't belong to Mary.
That's still how I think of him.
That is not how he thinks of himself.
Oh. He's a good worker. All the families rely on him. He's always first to help. I think one day that God will choose him to become a deacon or even the bishop.
I think you're right.
Is that all you wanted to ask me?
No, But how do you feel about Abram as a man?
As opposed to as a fish?
Don't make jokes. This is a serious conversation I'm trying to have with you.
Why?
Why am I trying to talk to you?
Why does it matter what I think of Abram?
Don't be foolish, Ruth.
I think of Abram.
You know he's feet on you.
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to cheer me up about Levi and Joshua.
It's more than that, child. He's talked to your dad.
About me?
Your dad has told me that Abram wants to marry you.
Eric enters on
That Abram wants to marry you.
He cannot understand the conversation. They are speaking German.
But it's not even a month since we buried them.
I know. I'm not trying to.
Not even a month since we buried them.
I know. I'm not trying to force you. I want to know what you think about this man.
I told you what I think. He's a good Amish man and everyone relies on him.
But could you marry him?
I don't know that I
Because of Mary?
I don't know that I can marry anyone. I don't want to be married yet. I want to stay here and take care of you and Dad.
That is no life for a young girl. And who will give us grandchildren?
Maybe Mary.
English children wouldn't be ours.
I can be strong too. I can be strong too. I want you to look at me like you used to look at Mary. It's my job to keep us together.
You're a family, Ruth. God will keep us together.
I've done a lousy job of that.
What was that?
Nothing. Abram does make me laugh sometimes. That's a nice thing.
A short pause. Eric coughs to get their attention. Esther turns and sees him.
Oh, it's you, Eric.
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering if I could help in any way with dinner.
Yes, I would.
Why don't you set the table?
I can do that.
And set an extra place, please. Abram will be joining us tonight.
Abram?
Abram?
Yes, set up for Abram.
Eric exits.
When your father and I started courting, I was a little younger than you. My mother was dead. Your dad was possible, like my father was dead. I'd known his sister for years, but it made things hard for my family when he took me away.
Mama.
It was the right thing. That's what I'm telling you. Your dad had not done the right thing. He'd raised his brothers and sisters, and I'd raised mine. We never got to talk to each other before, not really. Not about really personal things. Talk to each other before, not really. But I didn't really know him. And it made things hard for our family. Your father talks too much sometimes, and he has his dark moods, but he's kind, patient. We are partners. And I know that the work I do matters. The last few weeks, I would have broken into 1,000 pieces without him. You could never know at the beginning, but it was clearly God's will for us. Think about God's will for you.
Yes, Mama.
Lights up on Mary on a different part of the stage. She is in the barn. Eric rushes in. Esther exits to the kitchen and begins to work on supper. Ruth folds the last sheet and follows him.
What happened?
Your mom and your sister, I overheard them talking.
What did they say?
I don't know. They were speaking German, but it sounded serious. Abram was for dinner.
Abram's coming for dinner?
Your mom told me to set a place for him.
Abram is going to eat with my family?
That is what I'm telling you, yes.
Abram is going to eat with my family.
Believe it. He's probably already here. What do you want me to do?
Kill him.
What do you really want me to do?
You said you would help.
I got to.
Eric exits. Mary paces for a moment, then freezes. She's still in the barn. She sees Abram approaching before we do, and her whole body stiffens. Shifts to the past, indicated by a sound and light view. It is the day after the end of Act 1 5 years ago.
Shut up.
I haven't said anything.
Don't talk.
What's wrong with you?
I haven't
What's
said
wrong with
anything.
me?
That's what I'm asking.
Last night,
Don't worry. I won't tell. You're acting so strange, Miri.
no, don't say my name.
That's so strange.
I won't say
man.
your name.
Are you feeling guilty? It's okay. I told you it was okay. I'm going to be your husband, and you have to follow where I lead.
I don't.
Hey, I'm your
I
husband.
didn't
You have to follow where I
want
lead.
to.
You did want to. You kissed me. You told me you'd marry me. You wanted to. You're scared because it was a sin. I know it was a sin, but be scared of
You're scared
God,
because it
not
was
me.
a sin. I know it was a sin.
Abram walks toward her.
Stop.
I don't understand.
No, you don't. And I don't know how to make you.
Do you still love me?
I don't know how to make you.
You still-
Miri, do you still love me? I love you. I would never hurt you. I would kill anyone who tried to hurt you.
Then kill yourself.
You don't mean that.
Then kill yourself.
You don't mean that.
I'll confess. I'll tell the bishop.
You'll go in front of the whole town and say what you did?
That will make you love me again.
No. That
That's the best way.
I'll have to sit and listen. That will kill me.
Don't be vain.
Vain?
I love you, but you're vain.
I'm not. I'm not vain.
She puts her hand in her hands. She can't do this anymore. She deflates. Abram crosses to her. Abram crosses to her.
It's all going to be okay. I'll fix this.
Abram wraps his arms around Miri. She stiffens. Abram kisses her, not tenderly, possessively and desperately. She does not kiss him back. He pulls away. She slaps him hard. They stare at each other for a long moment. They stare at each other for a long moment.
You want to make confession for that.
Abram exits. Miri is alone in the barn. Shift to the present. The past hangs all around, as indicated by a sound and light cue. Lights up on the kitchen. The table is set for 6. Ruth and Esther enter and sit. Eric and Jake and Jacob enter and sit. Miri does not exit. She turns and looks at the kitchen. Her place at the table is set but empty. Abram enters and sits next to Ruth. Ruth, Abram, Eric, Esther, and Jacob join hands and bow their heads to pray. Miri is ready to explode. Ruth, Abram, Eric, Miri will explode.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meal. Please bless the earth that friends stand together today.
Miri bursts into the kitchen.
No, this will not happen. He will not eat in here while I stand out there. He will not hold Ruth's hand. I don't accept this. You'll have to kill me.
Miri, you're making a scene.
Get out. Get out of here.
You get out. You are not wanted here.
It's your fault they're dead.
Miri points at Esther and Jacob.
Your fault. This is your punishment for pushing me out and forgetting me. God took Levi and Joshua to punish you for what you did to me, and you know it. That's why you can't look at me. You say you forgive people, but you don't. You just replace people.
Maybe we should all just calm down.
You shut up.
You shut up.
Silence!
The room is quiet. It's totally shocking for a good Amish woman to behave this way.
This is my home. This is my family. My home. My life. This is my family. 3 of you, get out.
Jacob?
I said get out of my house.
Miri and Abram exit. Eric hangs back.
What did I do?
You just don't belong. You don't belong to us.
Eric exits on the verge of tears. Lights dim on the kitchen. Scene 6. Speak. The present. Several hours later. Lights up on the barn. Miri is sitting alone. Lights up on the kitchen. Esther enters and begins cleaning up the uneaten supper dishes. Miri prays. Supper dishes. Miri prays.
God, God? Question mark.
Mary shakes her head and closes her eyes for a moment, then changes tactics.
Levi? Joshua? I don't know if I believe in heaven anymore, but I believe you're there. Can I do that? Heaven anymore, but I believe you're there. Can I just believe in a heaven for you? A heaven where the fields are already plowed and the cows are already milked and the chores are already done. And worship is already over when you wake up. And all there is left to do is take long walks and tell scary stories. And all there is left to do is lie in the sunshine after swimming in a small lake like we did on Sunday afternoons. And eat Mama's biscuits and go for buggy rides with Dad and listen to Ruth sing quietly only for the four of us. Can there be a heaven like that? And will you wait for me there? I think I can do better for the rest of my life if I can make myself believe you're waiting for me there. Oh, help. Oh. I always thought eventually they'd forgive me for leaving. And you'd forgive me for leaving. And I wouldn't live here again, not ever, but I'd come for Christmas. And I'd see your little dark-haired babies and laugh with your wives, and we'd be a family. And it wouldn't always be with us or against us, but just sometimes, like once a year, just us. But you're both dead. I'm alive and I'm here. I just thought we had time.
Jakob enters the kitchen and watches Esther. After a moment, he speaks.
I'm feeling fine.
Are you feeling better now?
Fine, I'm feeling fine.
Dad can't keep loving me if I don't stay. Mama can't even look at me. And our sweet Ruth, if she marries Abram, I'll lose her too. Ruth, if she marries Abram, I'll lose her too.
Tell the truth to me, Esther.
No. No. Felt good, because I wouldn't know what to answer.
I have this thing. I can't relax. I can't sleep. Am I crazy? I went to a therapist, out there. She told me I'm not crazy, but I'm not out there. And here, if you can't breathe and you can't sleep, something's simply wrong between you and God.
I frighten you. I do. My mother used to frighten my father.
We seem to have lost Jim. Let's wait a moment. I'll try and get a hold of him. All right, we seem to have lost Jim for the evening. I'm going to fill in for the remainder of the play. If we could take this from Esther's line, I frighten you, near the bottom of 74, please.
I frighten you.
No.
I do.
Yes. sometimes.
Like my mother frightened my father.
Are you trying to tell me something? Do you mean to?
No, no.
Good. I couldn't bear this without you.
I don't know if I can bear this at all.
Jakob takes Esther's hand. Miri exits. Perhaps she mumbles the same prayer her father prays under her breath.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul.
But if the evil is not outside us, but inside.
You are not evil. Never say that. We are all upset. That does not make us evil.
Lights up on Eric and Ruth on the porch at the same time as the other scene on stage. Ruth is returning to Eric his wallet, phone, and watch.
Thanks. Man, these feel so weird to me now. You should keep them.
I don't have need of them.
I guess it's weird I'm still wearing these clothes, huh? I came out here to change them, but I hate my old clothes.
He picks up his phone.
I have missed this. Ugh, I just can't do this right now. I can't make all these changes at once. I was doing so well.
I carried them in my arms. Her, Miriam. I named her. You named others. I named her for rejoicing. I had such hopes for her. My girl.
You still love her.
How could I stop?
She needs to know that.
You're more peaceful now, Eric. You can take that with you wherever you go.
I don't think I can, Ruth. When I think about getting on a bus going back to the city, I feel the tunnel closing all around me.
The tunnel?
It shuts out everybody but me.
Miri made a choice.
No, we made a choice to ignore the fact that she was dying under our roof.
She wasn't dying.
Her spirit was dying. Now she's so dark inside, sour. Have you heard her laugh once since she got here? Nothing like the girl we knew. We failed her. We let her drift out into the world with nothing.
That is the Ordnung.
The laws are meant to bring us closer to God, to protect us from temptation and worldliness, not to divide us, not to turn our children bitter and afraid.
Esther releases Jakob's hand.
She's a stranger. I've lost her.
She still needs you.
She needs God.
How can she believe that God will not forsake her if you already have?
Esther hears him. It is a blessing. Esther and Jakob exit.
Why did I ever think it was okay to come here? I'm such an idiot.
You were meant to come to us, Eric. You can't think all this time has been wasted.
Your sister was right. I didn't discover anything. I was just hiding, and now it's all going to be the same, isn't it? I'm going to drink so goddamn bad. Sorry.
Do you have a sister?
Yeah.
When you look at me, it's like you're looking for somebody else. You should go to her.
She doesn't want to see me.
Yes, she does.
You don't know her.
I don't have any brothers anymore. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, just to make you realize you're taking someone else's brother from her too.
Lights up on Miri in the barn in her English clothes. It is the next morning. She is packing.
I wish I could have your voice in my head all the time, Ruth. I think I'd sleep better.
Not my voice you're wanting, Eric. It's his.
Lights down on the porch. It is now morning after Esther kicked everyone out of the house. Abram enters the barn. He turns to go when he sees Miri, but she stops him.
Abram,
I was looking for your father.
he's in the house.
I'll go.
He turns to leave.
Wait, please.
Something in her tone makes him turn around.
Did you say please to me?
Don't walk away.
Why not? That's what you did.
You say that like you're not the reason I had to leave.
You didn't have to leave. You chose to leave. I'm so tired of being blamed for your choices.
What choices did I have? Stay here and be pitied, gossiped on? How could I see you every day and not even be able to talk about it?
You gave me something, and then you took it back.
You thought I owed you.
I thought you loved me. I thought God's will was for us to be together.
What's the difference between God's will and your will?
On my best days, there is no difference. Are you a good person, Miri? I know you're a wronged person. I know you're a wounded person, but are you a good person?
Yuri stares at him. She opens her mouth and shuts it.
I should know the answer to this. I don't know. I don't know if I do any things that are good, if I make the world a better place in any real way. I'm good at my job. I pay my rent on time. I don't steal or murder or lie any more than anyone else lies. But I don't know if all that stuff adds up to a good person. I don't even know how to know. Ruth is a good person. Dat is a good person. If you ask them, they would say that they aren't, but that's what good people say. But is it even really goodness if you have no other choice?
I don't know.
I have a lot of choices now. I have a lot of freedom. I can do whatever I want. And the price of that is being completely alone. Are you a good person, Abram?
I'm a person that people say good things about.
I would have married you.
You're a liar. You lied then and you're lying now. You never would have married me. You never would have stayed here. I knew you'd leave me from the moment I met you.
I met you when I was 4 years old.
I knew.
Is that why you did it? To keep me here?
I was afraid.
Did you think God was on your side that night?
Yes, I think I did.
Have you since?
Haven't you?
No,
Maybe you should.
I don't have those feelings. I try, but I don't. You do.
Yeah.
With who?
English girls.
Where do you meet English girls?
In bars sometimes. I wear English clothes. I don't have a beard. They don't know who I am.
That must be nice.
It is. I don't have to be extra perfect because they don't know the worst thing I ever did.
Ruth is not me as I might have been.
I know that now. I miss you so much.
Please don't do that.
How long can you hold on to this, Miri? Everyone knows what I did. It hangs like a cloud over my life. I went in front of everyone and I made a confession. I did that for you. I was willing to do anything to fix what I broke.
You made that confession for yourself.
For you! I asked for forgiveness and everyone forgave.
You didn't ask me.
What?
You didn't ask for my forgiveness.
The whole town.
Ask me.
Now?
Now.
Miriam, I'm sorry you got hurt.
That's not the same as I'm sorry I hurt you.
It's the best I can do.
Abram exits. Miri continues to pack in silence in the barn. Lights up on the kitchen, also in the present, on a different part of the stage. Ruth is clearing breakfast dishes. Esther is taking them from her and washing them. Ruth picks up 2 clean plates.
Eric didn't come in for breakfast today.
He probably thinks you're mad at him.
Why would he think that?
You kicked him out of the house.
He's not ours to save, Ruth. You're not helping him by sheltering him. His problems are out there waiting. They are real, and he must be strong enough to face them.
We can help to strengthen his will.
We don't strengthen people here, we break them.
Mama, Miri didn't mean what she said last night about Levi and Joshua. She didn't know what she was saying.
She meant it.
He still belongs to us, even if she doesn't belong here.
Don't hold on to anything too tightly, Ruth girl. If you forget everything I've ever told you, remember that. You will hold on to things too tightly. You will crush them.
Yuri is still sitting in the barn. She has to leave. She knows it. but she's frozen here.
I'm not going to marry Abram, Mama.
No?
I'm maybe not going to marry anyone. I don't know, but not him. Not just because everyone thinks it would be good. It wouldn't be good. Not for me.
Then you don't have to marry Abram.
I don't.
No, of course you don't.
Ruth runs over and embraces her mother. Esther is surprised, but after a moment, she hugs Ruth back.
God bless you, Mama.
God bless you, Ruth.
Lights dim on the kitchen. After a moment, Eric enters the barn. He begins to pack in silence, and Mary watches him. He has a beat-up old bag and some care package items given to him by the family.
Will you go back to Philly?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I need to be somewhere quieter, I think.
Do you have someone to stay with?
I'll figure it out.
Because you probably shouldn't live alone. If you get lonely and you get in your head again.
I said I'll figure it out, Mary.
I live on a quiet street.
What?
I mean, in the city, but the neighborhood is quiet, close to buses. And there's a weekly AA meeting at a YMCA about 2 blocks away. A friend of mine goes. She could take you.
What exactly are you saying?
It's probably not as nice as where you're used to living, but I want you to come stay with me. I want you to figure it out. I believe you can.
This is a bad idea.
No, it's a good idea. It's what a good person would do.
I can't.
Why not?
Why?
You need a friend now, and so do I.
Are we friends?
Aren't we? I have this knot inside me, like behind my sternum, and it's just been there for 5 years, and I've learned to just like breathe around it. It's like a rock. It's like a tumor. And I didn't realize how hard it had gotten to breathe until just now. But I feel like getting looser, and you're part of that. We can't have this life, but maybe we don't have to be totally alone either.
So that's what's in it for you.
Please take me seriously. I'm really trying here.
Yeah, so am I. Okay, thank you.
There's a bus soon. You all packed?
Do you think we can stay until worship on Sunday? I still want to confess.
Why is that so important to you?
Because someone told me I have had many blessings and I'm trying to believe in that.
Jacob enters.
Will you be there?
I'm not exactly wanted.
I want you there.
We jump forward in time. Jacob crosses to Eric. 2 lights come up on stage. A large one in the center around Miri. A smaller one downstage. Eric crosses to it, led by Jacob. The rest of the play is presentational, metaphorical, a demonstration of gratitude. Even tragedies can end in gratitude. The audience should be completely included, and the fourth wall, if one still exists, should fall away.
They're not usually this mixed up about the past and the present. Our lives are pretty clear. But when the accident happened, it's like a hole opened up and the past crawled through.
Speak, forgive, forget.
You don't have to make confessions to earn our forgiveness.
I'm not trying to earn it, just trying to accept it.
Another small light comes on downstage opposite Eric's. Abram enters and crosses to it. Abram's light signifies that he is in the past. Eric is in the present. The 3 lights form a triangle. Eric watches Abram.
His shoulders aren't really all that impressive.
Eric and Abram are about to make their public confessions. Miri watches both of them. Esther enters and crosses to Miri. They're in the present. The rip in time that began tearing the moment Miri left and burst wide open when Levi and Joshua died is knitting itself back together in this moment.
You can't expect Abram to understand. Men don't feel things the way we do.
No one feels things the way you and I do, Mama.
Forgiveness is the spine of life.
I'm trying, Mama. I'm out of practice.
You could practice on me.
What do you mean?
Listen to me with an open heart for practice.
Okay.
Miriam, I am sorry for what I took from you.
You're sorry?
I should have protected you. I should have fought for you, but I was ashamed. I was afraid and ashamed.
I can't.
Ruth enters. Ruth crosses to Miri and takes her hand. Jakob stands behind Abram, but watches Miri and Esther.
All of you know why I'm here. I have moved away from God.
And now there is distance between us that has allowed all to affection. And I'm calling out to you from across this divide, but I don't know the words that will make you hear me.
These are the words. I hear you.
Miri begins to break down. Jakob watches her.
I love you, always. Even when I want you to think I don't, I'm loving you where you can't see.
Esther puts her hand on Miri's shoulder. Touching her excommunicated daughter in front of the whole congregation is a huge deal. Esther is choosing Miri over the Ordnung.
I fucked up. I mean, I messed up.
I'm afraid.
I'm lost.
I am here to surrender and be forgiven.
Ruth looks at Miri.
It's time.
I want to forgive you. That will be some good in the world. All the good I know how to do.
My actions have brought pain to everyone here, and I regret them. I made his family suffer.
A good family.
I hurt the person I love the most in the world, and I think I've lost her. Please forgive me.
I never thought that anything I did could affect so many people. I'm sorry I found out this way.
Miri watches her father. This is his chance to be on her side. Jakob crosses to Miri, breaking the Amish rule that separate men and women. Jakob takes her hand.
There's nothing that can heal the hurt, except maybe time, and that might make it worse. I'm here because I am responsible for her life, and for that hurt, and for this darkness.
Jakob kisses Miri on the head.
I'm here, in the light. I surrender.
Lights go out on Abram and Eric. After another moment, lights go down on the family. Blackout. End of play.
Bravo. Congratulations, everyone. Well, that's unfortunate. We had some technical problems tonight, especially in the second act. Jim Frere regrets that an act of God or Pico or whoever it was forced him to have to leave before the conclusion of the play, but he made a magnificent job along with everyone else here. Thank you so much, everyone. That was Everything is Wonderful, Except Our Internet Connection by Chelsea Marcantel. In tonight's reading, we had in the role of Jakob, Jim Frere as Esther.
And Lannak.
Miri.
Meg Barton.
Ruth.
Julie Luzier.
Eric.
Anthony Bosco.
Abram.
Jimmy Jesberger.
And stage directions read by
Ari Jacobs.
If you enjoyed tonight's reading, why not check out our archive of the previous readings in this series? You'll find those all organized in our Facebook group, Newlandia Theater. You will also find links to all of those down below in the video description. And like tonight's reading, they all feature some of the best actors in the Delaware Valley. In our next live script reading, Infidelity, Madness, and Murder in a Mississippi Motel. The play is The Jacksonian by Beth Henley, and that'll be on June 20th. Until then, thank you very much for watching and have a good night.